Welcome to today's Time with Hime podcast. We were so lucky today that we were able to hear from living Congressional Medal of Honor recipient, Master Sergeant Earl Plumlee. What's the one thing you guys took out of his presentation today?
So my name's Connor Holbert. I'm from Eisenhower High School. The one thing I took was I liked how inspiring he was and how he went in there, and even though he was telling a dark story, even though it was heroic, there's still a lot of baggage that comes with that. And to me, it was honestly quite interesting how he could kind of take that and make it kind of still make jokes about it and still teach us something about it instead of just talking about a really dark story that happened in his life.
I'm Draven Alvarado. I'm from Lawton High, and honestly, I just liked how he was just so, through his story, he was just so, oh, I'm going to go do this, oh, I'm going to go do that. He just took, he started going up a stairway of progress to eventually go where he didn't even think he'd go, and now he's talking, telling us the tale, you know?
He had a plan.
He had a plan. It was a great plan.
My name is Josh Torgelson. I'm from Eisenhower High School. I loved his response to the question, how do you deal with your PTSD? Because the lady was asking due to mental health, and he had a lot of his friends die, so she was wondering how he would deal with that. And I loved his response because he said, I don't worry about it because I know I put my best foot forward and there's nothing I could have done to change that. I think that's great since we're in leadership and student council, because if we put our best toward a project like, homecoming or an assembly or a pep rally, and it doesn't go as well as we wanted to, as long as we know that we did our best, we shouldn't have to be worrying about that.
I'll take that from My name is Matthew Aguilar. I'm a senior at MacArthur High School, and to second kind of what Josh said, it's the same thing with sports too, and really anything in life. When we lose a game and you start to have a guilt in your heart, and well, that means you didn't give all your 100% effort, because maybe you weren't beat by the better team, but you didn't play your 100%. So, putting your best foot forward, it leaves you with no guilt in your mind that, well, I messed up, because you didn't. If they just were the better person that time.
Yeah, I'm Nathan Gibson. I'm a senior from Lawton High. And, it's not every day that you get to go and listen to some, of his stature, And not a lot of people get to do that. So I really liked it. I really liked that not everybody could do that. And I really feel I appreciate that.
A Medal of Honor recipient, there's not very many of them.
Yeah.
Really rare, and I even enjoyed going and sitting in the back and listening to him. He was really awesome.
And then it wasn't every 9 and 10 Medal of Honor winners are dead. They didn't even get to survive.
I'm Alexander Bryce from MAC. I really enjoyed how he knew his goal. He followed through. He didn't go off course. He just went straight forward.
I would say that I took the same thing you guys did. That he set a goal. He set standards. He even moved. He adjusted his goal as he went. He changed branches or service organizations. And he continued to get better. He was really humble about some of the great things he had. But he was pretty awesome. I had the privilege after the presentation to sit down and talk to Master Sergeant in this same setting. And so let's take a look at what he had to say. We were honored to have a living Congressional Medal of Honor recipient, Master Sergeant Earl Plumlee. He's an Oklahoma native. He's from Clinton. He graduated from Merritt High School. And been telling your story today to our JRRTC students and our leadership students. We appreciate so much you coming, but just in a short, give what kind of advice you gave our leaders and even our community members that you tell our students that want to become leaders for the future.
I got a lot of advice, but I guess my one piece is when you become a leader, the quickest way to alienate people is to be self-serving and to leverage your position as a leader for self-comfort, and it starts small and it ends up big, and people notice that and get a sense of it, and it's hard to have somebody trust you with those decisions if they think that you're always angling out for your own betterment.
Well, and again, that's your story, because not only did you serve your country and protect our freedoms, my freedoms, and I appreciate that so much, you also risk your life for us, and that's awesome. You told them stories about when you were in active duty in a particular battle. Rumors are you protected some of our presidents. where we're with some of our presidents. Any stories you'd like to tell us about that? You don't have to name drop.
Yeah,
But.
so I protected President Obama and President Trump and various other key members of the U.S. government when they're overseas. It's for a guy from Merritt to be in the same room with the president was always pretty interesting, and they were both profound men in their own way. And I think my funnest story is President Trump was just enamored with our equipment, and anytime he would walk down the hallway and you'd be in it, he'd stop and pull things off of your equipment and talk to you and ask you what it was. And we had to stop keeping explosive charges on our equipment because he would grab them and pull them off and want to talk about them, which made the Secret Service nervous.
Yeah, I'm sure that made him nervous. That makes me nervous for you. So what branch did you serve in and how long? And talk about that kind of career as students. A lot of our students look for that in the future.
So I started serving in the Oklahoma National Guard while I was in high school. And after I graduated high school, I left for the Marine Corps and did about 9 years there, and then ultimately made the decision to come back to the Army and serve as a Special Forces soldier, a Green Beret in the Army's Special Operations units.
So you've kind of been in various services and any recommendations to students or just?
I think I enjoyed each service for what they were and what they offered. And at the end of the day, though, I'm more at home where I'm at currently. I think that probably if I'd spent more time talking to a recruiter, he would have had a better sense of that than I would have as a young man. And probably could have saved myself a lot of time and moves by getting some advice from somebody that had already served.
One statement you made to our leadership when you were speaking to them is, bad leaders have made me into the leader that you are today, where you said I am today.
Yeah.
Can you explain that a little bit, just kind of how you took that?
Not that all my leaders have been bad leaders, but I have been told and have found to be true that a bad leader will shape you into a good leader if you let them, better than emulating a positive leader. And because those lessons stick with you so much more, and they're so much more sharp in your mind. When you see a bad leader doing things that are negative for you, put that in your book and never conduct those actions and never act like that.
And I kind of agree with that. And I was 30 years in education before I became a superintendent. And you always try to think when you get into leadership positions, where through your career did you feel like you were not treated in a fair way, and so you kind of work through that. And,
Yep.
and I think I've learned as much from some of the leaders I wouldn't consider as strong as some of the leaders, other leaders. Before you leave, what is one thing you want to share with our families, or what's that one thing? You're talking to 14,000 LPS students and all of our teachers and staff. That's another 2,500 people. What would you share? One last thing before you leave LPS.
Well, I always share the story of my career. I've found an amazing amount of value and reward from my time in service, and I also always offer somebody to seek that out and help be a part of the country, whether military service or civilian leadership or clubs and programs as you move through your life that support and make the country better.
Again, thank you so much for your service to us and what you've done to protect our freedoms. I mean, sometimes we take for granted, those of us that didn't serve in the military, and we grew up with these freedoms. And I've told people I worked my way through life and worked my way up the totem pole as many others have. And people like you made that possible for me, and I thank you so much for that. And we appreciate you coming to LPS and sharing with our students. And again, thank you for being here. And thank you for your service to our country.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
We're just starting the school year. We're after the first 9 weeks. Fall breaks out of it. What's going on that you really like about this year, your senior year?
I really like how the football games, the weather. I love how, as leadership, we can come together. We can help each other across the schools. I really like how we're all together trying to figure out how to make all the years to come like build up, easier for them, easier for the rest of the school.
Talking stick.
Thank you. So like Bryce said, I mean, we're the top dogs now, you know? And so we've been on the bottom floor, and we were the freshmen, and we had to do like all the events that everyone else planned for us. But like this year, we're kind of in charge of like homecoming, the prom that's coming up, like all those things that's under our belt now. And it's kind of cool because we get to hopefully make something that everyone can enjoy, not just us.
I think what you said is pretty interesting because Master Sergeant talked about that, because you guys are going to find that out next year. Some of you got high ECT scores, you're number one in your class, you got all these great things going on, and you're going to look up when you walk into college, you know how much that's going to matter to the college professors? You're starting at the bottom again. It's going to be like when you were a freshman again, if you can remember that far back. So I thought it was pretty interesting how he talked about that to prepare you for that at every level you go.
It was really neat, and I liked how he tried to push on us like hard work will get you through anything, because like you just said, the resume means nothing once everybody's in the same pool you are. So.
Yeah, I like how with this leadership, especially like the Chick-fil-A leadership, we really all get to be like together. It's like we've created another family, and it doesn't matter whether you're a Highlander, Eagle, Wolverine. I really feel like we all appreciate each other, and like we're learning from each other, from each other's experience.
You're not right.
Yeah, even to add on top of that, it's like at the end of like the football games, we like meet up and be like, oh, what's up, dude? How are you doing? I mean, you may have lost or we may have won, but it's all cool in the end. And honestly, no, but honestly, but like at the end of the day, first 9 weeks have been a blast. It's really what's been making it is just being involved. Like just like sitting there, I could be sitting at home like doing online and just like, oh, senior year, what is it? Another year, lame. No, but I want to go to school. I wake up extra early, get myself looking good, and get to school, say hi to all your handsome faces, you know?
Yeah, I think, going through 9 weeks, I think we're all kind of nervous about applying for college and stuff. Pretty sure that's what a lot of us are doing right now. But, it's kind of cool that, like, as seniors, it kind of feels like we owned this year, where other years we kind of just came in and we're like, what's going to happen? We get to decide what's going on. We
On all of Lawton,
Yeah.
not just a third of it, huh?
Yeah, and it's cool. I feel like we're a lot more friendly with each other now than any other years, at least what it felt like. So, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like what Matthew said when he was talking about the sports, because you see a lot of support from different schools. Like sometimes we'll go to the MacArthur student section, or like they'll come to ours, and I feel like instead of being like MacArthur High or Eisenhower High, we put Lawton first. And that's also what the leadership class has done, because we put our schools aside and, we work towards a common goal. Like just now I know we did our book reading for the elementary schools, and I thought that was great.
Very good. Hey, so let's play the game. You're in charge. You're the superintendent. I talk about this all the time. I came here right in the middle of the pandemic. And I have my ideas and some of the things like, uniting you and do. That's great. I'm 58. That's what I see as opportunities may not be what you see as opportunities. What would you do different? Or what opportunities would you create for the students of tomorrow if you were in charge?
So I've really been dwelling on this one, right? So I think the problem with some of our athletics is that we don't have too much support, because I know I talk to a lot of people and I'm like, hey, are you coming to the game? And they're like, no, I'm not spending like $10 on a ticket. And I feel like, I think Tajana said it in the last podcast, talking about lowering ticket prices or maybe giving student benefits, because like starting next year, nobody wants to see Eisenhower High School beat Lawton High 10-0 again in soccer, Like they're not going to want to pay $10 for that. And I think like it's really nice when you can look to the stands and instead of just seeing your parents, you see your fellow students and stuff. So I feel like just something to do with student benefits at sporting events.
Okay, we've had that discussion, by the way, since that last podcast. We've discussed that with the athletic directors and some of the coaches of how we can make that work moving forward. So that is definitely something that we listened, and we'll listen again, and we'll continue to discuss that. What else?
At MAC, we do freshman buddies, where the leadership team goes into freshman classes and we go out and tell them news, because sometimes freshmen won't really listen or see the news about like homecoming, maybe like Spirit Week. It'd be nice to be like hands-on with like the underclassmen, let them know things, help them with stuff, like help them with college, like help them try to start like a scholarship maybe.
Even understanding the LRC, I don't know how many of you guys take advantage, free college. How many of y'all take advantage of the free college right now? 100%. And making sure they understand, are they working toward getting that ACT score? You guys may not know this, but our sophomores can take college classes now. Wouldn't it have been nice when you were a sophomore if you could have taken, I mean, how many more hours would you have now and how much? So those are great things. I hope you guys are communicating that to them, that those advantages are out there. Our Career Tech has tremendous classes at all levels. You know, the biomed program is great for those that want to go to higher college degrees. But so that's, I like that idea of trying to improve that communication from the top to the bottom, even all the way down to middle school. Who else?
A big problem I see right now is the Stuco class got taken away, and the leadership class is now in 4th hour. So as superintendent, I would probably try to get that changed back, because I know at least at Eisenhower, there's a big scheduling problem now where a lot of the people in Stuco and in leadership can't make that 4th hour class. And so there always has to be some sort of, emailing of concurrent class people, or, just trying to kind of work that schedule out. And it worked a lot better last year when we kind of had more flexibility with that.
And we do have more flexibility, and we're working on that. That's something else we're working on to make, that's part of the long-term goal is that you can use that cell time for Stuco. Then anybody can come. So because it's 2nd hour and nobody has a class, there's nothing going on during your 2nd hour class for your cell time that you couldn't leave to go be a part of Stuco. So that's the long-term goal, is we learn to use that cell time. You just grab your breakfast and go have your Stuco meeting.
Yeah, it's just hard with concurrent classes because a lot of people don't get that.
But all classes, that's the hard thing. If you're taking concurrent and AP and Stuco, and but again, that's our ultimate goal, is to create more flexibility for everyone. And one thing we talk to our middle school kids about, and it's something you guys could help us with, we're trying to push more high school credits down there so that when they get to be seniors, they have more flexibilities. We don't want anyone to graduate early. We just want to take that flexibility away. We want, if they get some of those credits out of the way, they have more flexibility as seniors. Who else?
I definitely second that with the flexibility. Definitely, like, for us who are more involved, like Stuco, mentorship, and concurrent classes on top of that, it's hard to get that scheduling together. So I definitely second Connor when he says that. But one of my own things would be more of I would try to make it to where, I don't know how I would do it. I mean, that's, we're all here for that. But just get more of the younger freshmen, sophomore involved, because usually it's by junior year, you're like, oh man, I'm about to leave high school, I have to get involved now. And then senior year, you're like, okay, I might as well, do stuff. And for those who don't, don't. But freshmen and sophomores, it'd be really nice to see more of their faces and in some of our more school event crowds, or senior leadership could hypothetically be more of a just overall, who wants to be a leader, you come to, we'll all be leaders here.
And I like that idea when you talk about, that's some things that I appreciate the fact that you guys are even mentioning. How do you get it to those freshmen that, hey, you need to get involved now because it's going to be over quick. And hopefully all that flexibility gets out there where we get more students involved and we start creating more opportunities for them to get involved. We got one more?
And like Draven was saying, I feel like to get your freshmen more involved, you have to create relationships with them. Because I'm a senior mentor right now, right? And I feel like I've really created relationships with my freshmen. They can come to me if they have a problem. So I feel like that's a way. Yeah.
Awesome.
But also,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
If I was a superintendent, I think I would add more career paths. So for a freshman, just so that they know, it gives them more ideas on what they can do. So maybe criminal justice or something, if they wanted to be a detective or something like that.
We're looking at that. That's something we'd like to either add here at the LRC or we've talked to Great Plains about adding criminal justice for that reason. So, and that's things we need to know. We've ran surveys to try to see what people are interested in, and we've tried to expand those things. And our ultimate goal is, with the LRC, we offer everything. If it's there, you would think between the 3 high schools, we can find 15 or 20 students that want to take any class out there. And you guys may not know, we got sign language here. We've got Comanche here. We got a lot more foreign language here. We're trying to add more. And that's the goal. And so what we got to do is get where you have those interests. We got to speak up. How can you get your fellow students who are freshmen and sophomores say, these are the things I'm interested in? So today we can start figuring out how we're going to offer them next year. So next question. One of the best kept secrets is always, I have a saying and people hear me talk, I talk about it all the time. If we don't tell our story, somebody else will. If you're telling the story of LPS or Lawton Public Schools, what is it that people don't know in surrounding areas or even Lawton itself about Lawton Public Schools that you wish everyone knew?
I hate to admit it, man, but we're just so darn nice. Honestly, it's like it's so welcoming all the time. Cause like, I mean, it's not like there's like these cliques like like high school movies seem it out to be, and like middle schoolers going into high school are like, man, oh, I wonder which clique I gotta get into. No, it's just we're all together. It's like, and as long as you just be positive, there's gonna be people to be positive with you.
It's interesting with your story because you moved in.
Well, that was like a long time ago.
Okay.
A long time ago.
You've been here a long time.
Yeah, I've been
Okay.
here a long time, just born somewhere else.
Okay.
I love it here better, though.
To kind of go off what he was saying, we're a military town, so that's a normal thing. Everyone's always coming in. There's always some new person, and so him saying like we are really friendly, we welcome everyone, and then like you said, we have amazing opportunities for those students to do all kinds of different things, and so it's a really neat opportunity. That way, they don't feel like an alien in the town because I'm not from here, but we have everything. So I really like it.
I felt that when I moved here 3 years ago. I'll say that. I've moved around a little bit in my career because I coached and moved, and I've moved as a superintendent. As Lawton's by far the largest community I've ever lived in, so I struggled a little bit with how that would fit. But the welcoming here, it's almost like a very small town attitude. It's a great community, and that's what I tell everybody that asks me, well, how do you think about Lawton? I said, man, it is awesome. The people are welcoming and friendly. So it's amazing you guys feel the same way about your schools on that. Anybody else got one?
Yeah, going off of both what Matthew and Jervin said, we're just like a diverse. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. We're a diverse community. Like we're all different, but we're all the same. Like we all welcome each other. It doesn't matter whether you're from a poor family or a rich family. We're all the same. We all welcome each other.
And I like what you're saying because when we've had some of the conversations when we had, Lawton High and Eisenhower are not the same. I mean, there's just differences. Mac is not the same as either one of them. But the ability to come together like you guys and have a good job and communicate, and as leaders communicate and work together is very exciting. Well, I think we've extended our podcast. I appreciate so much y'all are coming. We're going to start doing this once a month. You may get another shot at this, but thank you for all you've done, and I appreciate you guys. And good luck, and if you need anything, always let me know. But good luck on your senior year as you're trying to apply to colleges and as you move forward onto your next level and you go from that top of that totem pole back toward the other end of it. Until next time, thanks for joining the Time with Hime podcast.